Now, this recipe that we're going to be doing is going to make a very fine, soft, moist coating. All right, if you overcook it, it'll stick and the stuff will peel off. If you wrap your aluminum foil too tight around it, when you pull it, it'll pull all the coating off. If you want more of a grainy, harder texture, sort of like shake and bake would make, then you would either want to add very fine breadcrumb or cornmeal to the mix before you roll it. Okay? Just as a heads up. So let's get started. So this is our basic. You may want to pause the video to either do a screenshot or write this down. We're using 1 teaspoon each in powdered form: sage, Bohnenkraut, rosemary, dill, thyme, basil, cumin, garlic, oregano, paprika, and parsley. Then we're using a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, and then our secondary mixes, which you will see in the video, will be our flour, olive oil, and barbecue sauce. And we'll get on with that and let you watch the video. Okay, folks, this weekend is Super Bowl. I am not a big football person. Don't do soccer or any of that. I have more outdoor type stuff. However, I know there are a lot of people who do. So, let's make some Super Bowl chicken. We're going to do 3 different types, and I'll run you through it. We're going to try to do this as fast and simplistic as possible. So, we're going to take, and this is all ground. It's basic ground. 1 teaspoon of sage, Bohnenkraut. Bohnenkraut would be bean kraut. I'm not sure what it would be in English. Rosemary, dill, thyme, basil, cumin, garlic, oregano, onion, paprika, and parsley. 1 teaspoon, not table, teaspoon of each. Then a half a teaspoon of salt. And the pepper that I use is a mix 50-50 of black and white pepper. Black and white pepper is the same pepper, it's just when it's harvested. And so it has a different flavor to it. So we're going to do a half a teaspoon of, so basically in my case, we'd have a 1/4 teaspoon of black and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. Okay? Now, once we have, this is all ground, okay? Ground, powder, however that you want. We're going to take this, put it in our bowl, and 1 cup of flour. Now, this is my whole wheat flour that I make, and I run it through a 90 to 100 mesh sieve or strainer. We're going to put 1 cup in here. Now you can leave it just as this, but I want this stuff really fine. I want it really mixed in there. So I'm going to run this back through my flour mill and make sure everything is down to a between an 80 to 100 mesh size. So all of this is mixed in. This will then be our base. I really wish you folks could smell this. Woo, that's some good stuff right there. Now this is our base. And we're going to add our flour. And we're going to add our base then to make the amount of flavor that you want. Again, this is how I do it. And everybody has a different palate. Okay? So, we're going to add a cup of that, a cup of regular flour, Not packed, fluffed, and level. 1/4 cup of our base. Again, this is super fine flour. If you're using regular flour, store-bought flour, it should work about the same. But because this is whole wheat, I want it extremely fine so it absorbs everything quickly and I don't have a long wait time where everything gets mushy. At that point, I can now taste this. And decide if I want to add more or less of the base. In this case, I like my stuff with some ump to it, so I'm going to add another 1/4. About, we'll put an 1/8 in there. I'm just starting to taste the stuff. And this is why I make a base first and then I add to it, so then I can adjust the flavoring. Since all of this stuff, all these herbs come out of my garden, the garlic and everything, each year I may have a different strength, a different consistency. So you can't run just one general measurement. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to go to the wife for a taste test to see what she thinks. So even the wife likes it, which is a, but even just that little bit of pepper and so on, she's like, it's too spicy. So we're going to put this over here, out of our way. And so this is our base mix. And we're going to take and do this 2 different ways. And let me get the chicken out and we'll get into that. So our chicken, I get from the same guy that we have our free-range eggs from. I know they don't have hormones and all that other stuff. He does because of free range. He's not always having to inject them with penicillins and antibiotics. And actually, they had a couple of bouts of bird flu around here, and his farm tested totally clean. So we've got some chicken legs, we got some wings, and now I've separated the wing from the shoulder piece. And then I got a couple of chicken breast, and we sliced these into long strips, like chicken fingers. All right. The last thing we're going to do at this point is add our secret ingredient. And people, I'm going to tell you, this makes the difference. If you really like the Popeyes ghost wings and so on, this right here will do the job for you. Okay. That's the ground pepper. This is the pepper powder. The recipe is in there on how to make the fermented pepper powder. And this is what I use. The stuff is a Scoville, oh my God, above the thing. And we're simply going to add very, very little at a time. Because this stuff will creep up on you. And kick you in the tatas. I eat jalapenos and stuff on a regular basis, but this stuff I treat with extreme caution. Oh, and if it gets in your nose, you're not going to stop sneezing for hours, because this stuff will burn you. Always remember, whiff, don't sniff. There we go. Now, at that point we have one other thing to make, but we're going to deal with that separately. Next thing we're going to do is get ourselves a bowl, and we're going to start with the legs. Now the thing that we want to do with the legs is very lightly coat them with olive oil. There we go. We're going to let those set for a second for my spices. And I'm going to put these onto a flat pan, aluminum, shiny side on the inside, matte side on the outside. I mean, you don't have to blow air if you're making it for other people and you don't want they don't want your blowing on it. You don't have to. This just makes it much easier. And that's how that fine flour makes it come out. Sticks it really well.
Okay. Can I have the kitchen?
Nope.
Okay.
I asked you ahead of time.
That's fine.
Now we're going to do everything I'm doing tonight is baked. I've been eating a lot of fried lately, and I need to get off the fried food for a couple of days. Again, very, very light oil. You don't want a heavy oil. Basically, the oil will help bind the dry to the meat and the skin, and give it a slight crispy cook in the oven as it bakes. I have mine set for 175 Celsius. You'll have to figure out what you want to bake at for yours. Let me go wash my hands. Our legs are in, our wings are in. I'm putting the legs and wrapped on one pan. The wings are on a different one because a different meat thickness and everything. They'll have to cook differently. And the cooking time, again, is dependent upon your equipment. Now we're going to put our strips in. And this one, we're going to add a little bit of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And again, we want to lightly coat these with the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And I can say that because I'm from Texas and I'm from the other side of the track. So, I'm not appropriating anybody's language, because that's how we talk where I come from. And we're going to just mix these up. You and I'll come on down, have a chit chat. We'll have beer, maybe a little barbecue, okay? Now these, unlike the legs, I can't put them in all at once. Well, I can probably get a few in there, but I don't want to overstack it because they're going to really get this mixture wet, and I want to get a good separation so everything is well battered. And if you do blow into the bag, don't drool into it. Make sure you got dry lips. It's like handing somebody a moistened doobie. It doesn't work. And there you go. I got some of that flour on my lips. I can already feel it burning. Good stuff. So, we have very little of that left. I can save this, but it'll have to go into the refrigerator because it's being cross-contaminated with the meat. Our other mix here will go into a Ziploc bag and into the freezer with fresh ground flour, because it's got the oils and everything in it. It's only good outside, even in a dark, cool place, for maybe 24 to 48 hours. If you freeze it, it can last several weeks. So I'm going to put this in the freezer and then I'll get back with you.